My name is Margaret Reynolds, and at 72 years old, I thought I understood how life worked. I'd been married to Thomas for 48 years. We raised our son, Daniel, in a beautiful colonial house on Maple Street, the house Thomas inherited from his parents. That house held every memory of our life together. I was visiting my sister Eleanor in Boston for 2 weeks. She'd been recovering from surgery, and I wanted to be there for her. Thomas encouraged me to go, kissed my forehead, and promised to take care of everything at home. Daniel, our 45-year-old son, lived across town with his wife, Rachel, and their 2 teenage daughters. When my taxi pulled up to our house on that cool October afternoon, something felt wrong immediately. My suitcases sat on the front porch, neatly arranged. Next to them was a small envelope with my name written in Daniel's handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Mom, I'm so sorry. There's no space for you anymore. Dad needs care, and Rachel and I are moving in to help him. We've found you a nice senior apartment. The address is inside. Please don't make this harder than it is. Love, Daniel." I stood there frozen. The autumn wind scattered leaves around my feet. 50 years of my life, packed into 4 suitcases. My home where I'd hung curtains, planted roses, raised my child was no longer mine. I called Daniel. It went to voicemail. I called Thomas. No answer. I tried Rachel. Nothing. The betrayal cut deeper than any knife. My own son had locked me out. My husband had allowed it. I took a deep breath. Then another. I was not going to break down on my own front porch. I called my cousin's daughter, Sophie, a real estate attorney. She picked me up within an hour, helped me load my suitcases into her car, and took me to her guest room. "Aunt Margaret," Sophie said gently, pouring me tea, "this isn't legal. That house is jointly owned by you and Uncle Thomas. They can't just evict you." "I know," I said quietly. "But I need to understand why first." Over the next few days, I learned the truth. Thomas had been diagnosed with early-stage dementia 6 months ago, something he'd hidden from me. Daniel had convinced him that I couldn't handle the stress of caregiving, that it would be better if Daniel and Rachel moved in. Somehow, they'd persuaded Thomas to start the process of transferring the house to Daniel's name. The medical diagnosis was real, but the solution erasing me from my own home was cruel. I felt 2 things simultaneously: deep compassion for Thomas's illness, and burning anger at being discarded like yesterday's newspaper. Sophie prepared legal documents to freeze the house transfer, but I asked her to wait. "I want to attend the family meeting Daniel mentioned in his note," I told her, "and I'm bringing you as my lawyer." Let's see if they saw this coming. The following Tuesday, I walked into my own living room. Like a guest, Rachel looked startled. Daniel turned pale. Thomas, sitting in his favorite chair, looked confused but happy to see me. "Margaret," he said softly, "when did you get back?" "A few days ago, dear," I said, kissing his cheek. "How are you feeling?" Daniel stood up. "Mom, I thought you understood. We sent you the apartment information." "Sit down, Daniel," I said calmly. Sophie stepped forward, setting her briefcase on the coffee table that I'd refinished. 30 years ago. "I'm Sophie Churn, Mrs. Reynolds' attorney. We're here to discuss the illegal eviction and attempted property transfer." Rachel's face went white. Daniel started talking quickly about good intentions, about my inability to handle Thomas's care, about making practical decisions. I let him finish. Then I spoke. "Daniel, when you were 7, you broke your father's favorite lamp playing baseball in the house. You were terrified to tell us. Do you remember what I said?" He looked down. "You said mistakes happen, but hiding them makes everything worse." "Exactly. Thomas is ill. That's not a mistake, it's a reality. But shutting me out, taking my home, putting my belongings on the porch like garbage, that was a choice. A cruel one." Rachel tried to speak. "We thought it would be easier." "Easier for whom?" I asked, my voice steady. "You wanted this house. You saw an opportunity when Thomas got sick. You manipulated a man with dementia and betrayed his wife of 48 years. Don't dress it up as kindness." The room fell silent. Thomas looked at Daniel with confusion and something like disappointment. Sophie laid out the legal facts. The house transfer would be reversed. I would be returning home immediately. Daniel and Rachel would be moving out by the end of the month, but I wasn't finished. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "Thomas needs care, and despite everything, I still love him. I am hiring professional caregivers for the hours I need help. Daniel, you and Rachel will visit twice a week, no more. No less, until you've proven you understand what family actually means." I paused, looking at my son. You're not losing your inheritance, but you've lost something more important, my trust. You will have to earn that back. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Mom, I'm sorry. I just thought you thought a difficult situation gave you permission to be selfish, I said. Now you'll learn differently. 6 months have passed now. Thomas's condition has progressed slowly, but with dignity and love. The caregivers I hired, two wonderful women named Patricia and Helen, have become like family. Thomas has good days and difficult days, but he's home, and he's surrounded by the life we built together. Daniel has been visiting faithfully, often bringing flowers or Thomas's favorite cookies. He helps with yard work and sits with his father, reading the newspaper aloud. Rachel volunteers at the senior center now, perhaps understanding for the first time what vulnerability feels like. Last week, Daniel brought his daughters to visit. As they were leaving, he pulled me aside. Mom, I don't know if I can ever make this right, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I took his hand. You make it right by being better from now on, by teaching your daughters that family means showing up, especially when it's hard, by remembering that your parents are people, not obstacles to overcome. He hugged me tightly, and I felt him crying against my shoulder. Forgiveness, I've learned, isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing love over bitterness, even when you've been wounded. It's about setting boundaries while keeping your heart open. Some nights, I sit in the living room with Thomas. He doesn't always remember my name anymore, but he knows my face, knows I'm someone who matters. He reaches for my hand, and I hold it, grateful for every moment. The house on Maple Street still stands, filled with memories and mercy, with justice and grace. It's not just walls and rooms. It's a testament to the truth that betrayal doesn't have to have the final word. Love, real love, always finds its way home.